it's a huge honor for me to have Taren Kaur here today. My kids and I have been listening to her music for a while now, and I think it was probably one of the children's songs that actually got me familiar with her. She's a songwriter, she's a Kirtani, she's an artist all round. I was talking to her about some of her videos earlier, and surprised to hear that she edits them herself. So without further ado, introducing the amazing Taren Kaur. I'm going to get straight into the questions today. So I want to ask you early influences in terms of Kirtan or music. Anybody who stands out?
Ooh, there's so many. Every time somebody asks me that question, I always miss somebody off the list, and I always have to apologize if somebody hears it. Oh man, there's so many. I think probably the earliest, which I have to say, is my dad. Because from a young age, my dad actually started Kirtan when he was about 2 or 3. My buaji was like, right, you're going to learn how to play the vajja and you're going to learn to do Kirtan. Wow. So with him singing it and obviously going to the Gurdwara every weekend and at home and everything, I was exposed to it from like birth, basically. So hearing him, listening to him, that kind of, I suppose, sparked the interest and gave me that introduction. After that, then again, because he enjoyed Kirtan, there would be, we would go to programs in the older days, and you'd have Kirtani, like obviously you had people like Bhai Singh coming to the UK, and people like Bhai Singh Jagadri and all the OGs, as you would say, from the Kirtan world. So I was exposed to a lot of that growing up, and then in the more recent times, people like Bhai Satinder Singh, Harvinder Singh, Bhai Kamaljeet Singh, Bhai Harchan Singh, Bhai Gagandeep Singh, Bhai Sarbjeet Singh Laddi, all of these people.
A lot of influences.
So, and obviously a lot of the Rag Kirtan ones and things as well.
Yeah, and what about in the Western world in terms of like with the guitar, with the that type of genre?
Yeah, probably my biggest inspiration in terms of guitar and things like that is John Mayer, because I mean, if anyone's heard him, it's just incredible musicality, and a lot of there's a lot of really fantastic English musicians or Western musicians that I listen to. And then there's people who are maybe more of the new age music kind of things, people like India Ari, Snatam Kaur, Simrit Kaur. I really enjoy listening to people like Janavi Harrison. Lots of people who are in spiritual music from different genres. I think it's really nice to hear how people do it. So I listen to a lot of music.
Yeah, very
eclectic. Forever.
So you've been doing this since 7, right? And I was surprised at that, because what I find working with athletes is they if they get into it from a young age, they usually burn out when they get to about 16, 17.
That was me, by the way. I was a footballer.
Okay.
I was going to trials and everything. I wanted to be a female footballer.
That's amazing. I didn't know that
at
about
a young age.
Wow.
I think most people don't, but I was just going to say the burnout thing. I totally get it, because that's what happened to me.
Yeah. So how did you not get burnt out from the music? Because, being consistent at something for that long is quite rare.
I think it's just the love of it. I do get burnt out from time to time. I think everybody does in anything they do. I think everyone needs a break. I think if you sometimes we have this tendency, or a lot of times we have the tendency to overwork ourselves and to kind of put more on our plate than maybe we can manage, and afterwards then we might need a few days out, or we exhaust ourselves. And there definitely have been times, even with like things like video shoots or recordings or even tours, where I have just maybe taken on a bit too much that I can handle. But I'm learning to give myself more time. I think one of the important things is actually resting. I think nowadays people are placing a lot more importance on things like self-care and actually sleeping, getting time to just relax. And over time I kind of realized that, yeah, even if I'm doing a tour, I do need to sleep. I do need to maybe, you know, schedule days in between things like programs and recordings just to rest and give my voice a rest.
Yeah.
So,
I actually did a camp in another country. I'm not going to mention which one it was, but they had called me out there, and it was only, I think the camp was only about 5, maybe 4 days, and I was doing something, I think, on every day, and I just, by the end of the week, I just felt so exhausted. I actually got sick on the way back in the plane, and I think in our community, I don't know whether whether it's just our community thing, but I think we do kind of overwork the people who come to do stuff. We think, okay, well, they're here, let's try and book this event and this, you know, this Kirtan, and then they can do one in the morning and they can do one in the evening. But it's speaking to a lot of pracharaks as well. You know, they suffer burnout. Some of the ones that I know, and I think it's we need to look after people better, I think, so that they are getting adequate, you know, they are getting, like, you know, time to recover, like at least 8-9 hours sleep, and or in bed in between, because it is, regardless of what you're doing, whether it's football or whether it's music, it is taxing on the brain and the body. So yeah, I think that's something that we can work on as a community. How do you negate the issues around being a female and traveling? I've seen you've been in Thailand, you've been in Malaysia, right? So how do you get around that? Do you have a chaperone? Do you know people when you go out to places, or?
Yeah, so the first few years of touring, I was by myself in terms of the, you know, flying and going out to the different countries, which was fine. I mean, you know, sometimes it can be nice just to be quiet and just kind of have that time to yourself and travel. You know, it was quite a nice thing growing up to have that kind of independence, responsibility, and just learn, actually. And then obviously as soon as you arrive in the other country, there would be people there to Sangha to meet you. The organisers would be there straight, you know, to pick you up, and after that, you know, they're taking care of you, getting you from A to B, and you're with them, and you're in that Sangat, in that group, and which is really nice. And the last couple tours I did in Asia, I was lucky to have company as well on the journey, and it was actually, I would say it is very, very helpful, because I think from previous tours that I did where I wasn't on my own, sometimes I would struggle with the long traveling aspect, in that I had so much to carry. I would have my guitar, my instruments, I'd have another suitcase with all my equipment in, and then I'd have another bag, and I was carrying like too much weight that was needed for me.
Yeah, that sounds like at least probably 30, 40 kg. It
was a lot. And I remember coming back from, I can't remember if it was from Canada or America now. It was a few years ago, but I had a lot of stuff, and I tend not to like put my guitar through because I don't want it to get damaged. I know how sometimes airports treat it; they'll just throw it. They won't, you know, treat it with respect or carefully. So it's kind of, you know, you have to kind of decide what you want to do. And I decided, okay, I'll carry it. And from Heathrow, I think there was a really long walk. Like it was definitely about 45-minute walk, because it was at the other end of the terminal. They were building a new one, and they were like, yeah, you all have to walk. And I was walking, and I had all this weight, and I thought I was going to pass out. I honestly did. And the only thing that got me through was I was just doing Waheguru Simran at every step. I was just saying Waheguru, Waheguru at every step, just thinking, this weight is too much. I'm holding all this stuff. It's super hot in there. There's no windows, no AC, nothing. And it was just this long stretch. You can't see when it was going to end. And there were no trolleys. There were no, you know, buggies to help anybody else, or if somebody was carrying anything.
That's insane.
And I ended up actually damaging my my neck from the weight in my back, and I started getting headaches, and I had to go to the chiropractor and Bowen therapy and things to sort it out. And
that's crazy. I think that's all the things we don't really see and appreciate. We just see the kind of finished product, and the actual logistics of it. I think is definitely underappreciated. So yeah, wow. And were you scared going out into initially when you first started to travel, to go into different countries and different cultures? Were you scared or were you excited?
Both, I think. I stayed at home for university, and so I didn't get that experience really of kind of going out and by myself necessarily that much, or being like independent, and that was actually a really exciting time for me. But yeah, it was a bit nerve-wracking at some points, and I've had, you know, situations, difficult ones on like planes and things by, you know, maybe, I don't know, they might have been racist, they might have just been, I don't know, difficult people, let's say, who caused kind of trouble from different backgrounds, which did make it hard. You know, and they make your journey a bit difficult. I think you could probably get awkward passengers at any time, but when you're on your own, it can be a little bit, you know, nerve-wracking.
Yeah. How do you manage that kind of scenario just generically? Because I think every brown person has probably been searched at the airport, but that's as bad as I've experienced, I think. Just being pulled aside for random search. But I think
100% random search.
Yeah, and everyone else is okay, but I have to be searched.
Yeah.
So, but I think probably everyone of color has probably experienced that. But how do you manage that? Because you must experience that a lot, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think for search and things, I haven't been too bad. Yeah, they always do. I don't think there's really ever been a time when I've not, but I've been lucky in most places too. They've been quite respectful. I think the place where it was worst was probably in Delhi, actually.
Okay.
They were not very friendly. I don't know why. They were like, we know you're going to the mystical land of Amritsar, and I was like, okay, like,
that's a bit
sarcasm. Yeah, I had a small Gurbani necklace thing, and she was like, you're not allowed this, and I was like, well, it's not like there's no problem with it, there's
no threat
and things like, yeah, it's you know, it was something that at least I could wear, and they didn't like that. Other places have been like really cool. People, I think one thing I think sometimes can be an icebreaker for me is the guitar and things. I think because people from all communities can recognize the guitar.
Yes.
It's like a conversational point, and people will be like, oh, you know, do you play it? You know, are you a musician? Where are you going? And I think that somehow, I think it kind of makes you more accessible in some ways.
It's disarming, isn't it? Music can be quite... It's that universal thing, which is quite disarming.
Yeah, people get excited and they'll be like, oh, you know, where can I hear your music, or what kind of music do you sing, and it becomes a conversational point, and they'll just talk about what they like, and then they're a lot more open and friendly, actually.
That's
because they found that connecting point, haven't they? And they realize, oh, actually, you know, this brown person's not actually much different to me. Yeah. It's just a skin color.
Yeah.
So I think just also, you know, just remaining friendly, and just smiling, and just not being like, and like, you know, we can be tired and stressed out, but I think if sometimes we seem a bit, you know, irritated, that can irritate other people.
Yeah.
I know they're just doing their job, but you just got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Just kind of just wait it and be like, okay, you want to check me? All right. Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah. Obviously, you're doing Kirtan and you're writing songs. It sounds like quite a, not that I've ever done it, but it sounds like quite a spiritual experience. And so have you do you feel that, like, with the music, with writing music, does it strengthen your connection with God and Vaheguru? Like, what is your connection with, because for some people it's just music, right? Like I know some musicians and it's just music, but some people, they feel it's a vibration, they feel it's like this higher plane. It's very spiritual. So what's your connection with music and with Kirtan?
100%. It's like it's I don't know, for me it's like that, I suppose you could say, like the bridge. It's that connecting point, because music is a vibration. If you look into the very essence of what music is, it's literally a vibration. I mean, well, if we go deeply into everything, everything is energy, and everything, I suppose you could say everything is a vibration technically, but it's that sound current, and that sound does definitely have an impact on us, on the brain, and even on the body, actually. And for me, it's definitely my connecting point. It definitely has the ability to shift my mood. And it allows me to absorb into my meditation, into that remembrance of God, of Vaheguru, and just connect deeper. And even, I would say, even when I'm writing English songs, I mean, I know I write English songs that are sometimes obviously like about like social issues and the journey of life and everything. A lot of my music is spiritual, if not maybe most of it. And I find that often is a way for me to express my love, and that just the love for Vaheguru, the love for Guru, through words. And obviously I could never ever put it, like, you could never, you would be there forever trying to express that adoration and that devotion to God. Like, it's something that's limitless, right? But it's just a way for me to kind of get that out of my heart and be able to sing it, and it's a really nice experience to do that. And I often feel that I always feel actually that it's something that comes from somewhere else. I always say it comes from a higher place, a higher power. It comes from Vaheguru, because a lot of times I'm not sitting there forcing myself to write. I won't be like, okay, right, I'm going to write a song about this and let's think. Sometimes I do if I've, if I'm working with somebody, or if I'm specifically trying to, do something. But generally it just comes on its own. And it's a beautiful thing, and it could come at any time, and I usually have to kind of grab my phone and be like, just record it or write down just this that's coming in, and it usually just flows out within like 5-10 minutes. This whole song, it just pours out, and it's a really I would say it's a really spiritual experience for me. It's definitely something that's kind of otherworldly, let's say.
And have you noticed, has anyone come to you and told you any stories in terms of the impact that your music has had on them, or how it's changed them in any way?
Yeah, that's one thing I definitely love about touring and getting to speak with the Sangat and with anyone who does listen to the music that I make, is that I hear all sorts of different experiences and different stories, really, positive things, and it really touches my heart, and often, it's like made me cry, because I didn't, and I suppose I still don't realize often that it does have an impact on people. It has an impact on me, but I put it out there just in the hopes that it might help someone might resonate, it might help someone connect with Vaheguru, with God, with helping them to heal, and just even on the weekend somebody came to me and they said they'd been following my music, and that it helped them with the passing of their father, and that their dad passed away, and listening to the songs and the Kirtan, it was actually a source of strength for them, and I was really touched. And so a lot of people have kind of expressed that to me, or that maybe that they were able to visit Gurdwara. Somebody mentioned to me that she hadn't maybe felt, you know, so welcome or comfortable to attend a Gurdwara for a while, and she wanted to come and listen to the Kirtan, and she kind of, you know, she came out. And other people have told me about bullying and things, about how their children have experienced in school, but that they use the music as a source of calming, you know, their child down, and I suppose just changing their mindset, and trying to, I suppose, not distract them from, like, oh, just ignore it, but just in a way to kind of say, hey, let's listen to this, and a certain Shabad always tends to calm their child down.
Wow. So powerful.
Yeah.
How did you find the courage to pursue this? Because I'm thinking, if I was your age, I'm actually a lot older, so, but I mean, if I was 6 or 7 when you started, and you know, to be able to pursue this and to do this like you have done, and really go all in the sense that, you know, a lot of musicians probably do it as a hobby, or, you know, on occasion. But you've really just given this your all, and I don't know many females from our community, like from Britain, who have done that. Actually, I don't know of any. How did you find the courage to do that? Was it external? Was it just internal?
I think it's just Girba. I think I mean, I do believe it's my purpose in life. We all kind of find our passion and what we think, you know, or what we feel from inside our way is. And I enjoyed music from, as you said, such a young age. And when I was in secondary school, I don't know, something just kind of came over me. I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I think it was about around 13 and 14, and I remember I'd kind of joined MySpace and all of those, you know, the music kind of websites that were kind of coming up, and I was sharing my songs, because at that time I was writing in English, and a few years later then I kind of applied that same I suppose just that musicality to then Kirtan. And I mean, I did a degree in photography.
Wow.
And I think part of that was partly because I wasn't sure what music degree I wanted to do, which university, because originally I wanted to do music. And partly because I think there was a voice in my head saying I wasn't good enough, which I shouldn't have believed that, really, because you should never start believing yourself when you start kind of, you know, going down hard on yourself. But I think I just didn't believe in myself, and I was afraid, and I thought, no, I'm not really sure. And I also kind of was worried that if I had gone to university to study music, would I have kind of eventually I don't want to say gotten sick of it, but sometimes
fallen out of love.
Yeah, sometimes you can, because I know that with GCSE music I loved it. With A-level music it was a very, very different thing. It was a lot about just theory and just remembering things rather than actually feeling the music, understanding the music. It was like, remember this page number, remember the notes, and the way it was like that. It was just a memory game, and I didn't like that. So I mean, but then I didn't enjoy doing photography because music was what I loved, and I think that really pushed me, that kind of knowledge of, no, I know that there's nothing else that I love doing except for music, and that I'm actually quite sad. I feel very low when I'm not doing it all the time.
Wow. Definitely on purpose.
That definitely pushed me, yeah.
How do you put yourself out there, right? You're on YouTube, you're on social media, and that's a new terrain in the sense that social media hasn't really been around for that long. I remember a time when there were no mobile phones, and there was no social media, which ages me a bit. But you must get people making comments to you. You talk about self-doubt, but then obviously there's a lot of people, these keyboard warriors, these trolls. How do you manage how do you manage putting yourself out there and having to deal with the kind of darker sides of the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. Social media has its pros and cons, and I always say this to everyone. There's obviously good and bad to a lot of things, everything. But I think sometimes it is just focusing on the positives and the kind of good aspects of it. There are a lot of people out there who, I suppose sometimes they're just there to spread hate and to be unkind. And I think sometimes you kind of just have to remember that clearly they're going through something maybe themselves to be leaving horrible comments or trying to cause problems and spread that nastiness around. And you kind of sometimes have to kind of bring your mind back to that and kind of just bless them, move on, do what you got to do. If you've got to delete or block, somebody who's harassing you.
Yeah, right.
There's definitely people who do harass, stalk, and it can be a scary place. I have experienced both of those harassment and stalking things. It is scary. It's not nice. But then I think I've met so many amazing people through social media too. So many incredible people, who, artists, poets, writers, singers, and just general amazing people who just share what they love, even yourself.
Yeah, we connected through social media.
We connected through social media. So I think that definitely is just utilizing it in the right way. And I think also sometimes it's healthy to take breaks. So for anyone who sometimes gets very, very absorbed into social media, and I know that, everyone does, I have as well, it's just take a break. Just even if you have to take a day out or a few hours out, kind of limit your time sometimes and get outside or meditate, do something else that's not looking at the screen. I think it can help to deal with the I suppose the darkness that can sometimes kind of come through.
Yeah, and the bad energy that some people bring.
Yeah.
So where can people connect with you? Because I know I've taken up a lot of your time, and there's so much we could talk about. Because prior to hitting record, we were talking about, what's your favorite countries? You've traveled so much, so there's a lot I want you to know. And you're very multi-talented. It's not just the singing, it's the writing, the actually having the courage to put yourself out there, the video making, all of this kind of stuff. It's the interviewing. I watched the one show interview. So it's brilliant. It's brilliant what you're doing, and it's brilliant that that you have you're obviously a brave lion. You're doing what you love, which is
thank you so much.
Kudos to you. Where can people connect with you? Where's the best place? I know you have a YouTube channel, which I subscribe to, everyone else should. Instagram, where I follow you. But what's the best way to connect?
I would say, anything, any platform really. I think I'm on almost everywhere. YouTube is great. Definitely subscribe to that and join on there. I'm always trying to create new content and videos, and obviously when you're a member on there, then you can you see everything straight on your home feed. You don't even have to search for it, and all the new updates come there. And obviously things like Instagram. I've got a Facebook page as well. They're all under the name Taren Kaur UK. Everything really. I'm on TikTok now as well, which has been interesting. I resisted it for a long time, but I kind of started, slowly.
You got to be open to it.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting place. I think you can find a lot of cool things to learn on there, and some meaningful things as well.
Yeah.
So all the music
major platforms
as well.
And for somebody who's 16, 17, what one piece of advice would you give them? I know it's putting you on the spot a bit, but it's, you know, especially with girls, I find, you know, I have a young niece, and I think it's such a formative age where you're not, maybe not so comfortable in your own skin, and you're not that self-assured yet. Is there any piece of advice that you could give to that age group? Somebody who may have a passion for music, but maybe not the courage to do it, follow it through?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, just, I think it's definitely important to do what you love. And I know it can be scary, and there's loads of times where I've doubted myself and thought, I'm giving up, I'm not going to do this. And sometimes people have told me that as well. And I know that obviously, you know, you were mentioning your niece, and for girls, it can be very difficult. It's not a usual or a normal stereotypical profession. It's not a normal stereotypical path, and a lot of people can try to bring you down, or a lot of people don't take you seriously. I've experienced all of those things, being treated differently. Even to date, I still get treated differently, or not given the opportunities that maybe male counterparts, you know, would receive just for being a woman, because they kind of think, oh, well, you know, you're a woman, what do you know? Or, you know, you're not worthy of it. And it's difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's really, really difficult. But you just have to do ardas. I would say ardas has been like my key thing whenever I've kind of been in situations where I don't know what to do, or I'm confused or feeling down or lost or anything. Just have faith and just do an ardas, leave it to Guruji, leave it to Waheguru, and just keep going. If you enjoy it and you love what you do, just keep trying, do your best, and just believe in yourself.
Amazing.
You know, a lot of people are going to bring you down. You can't let them. You can't let people bring you down. You got to.
I'm going to play this to my niece.
Definitely do.
We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
And look forward to connecting with you and following your journey.